Arab civilization in Jordan dates back to the 6th century BC, when the Nabateans established their kingdom in southern Jordan. Making use of their geographical location, the Nabateans spread their influence from their capital Petra, the Rose City, throughout the southern region of Jordan. At its peak, Petra was the unchallenged commercial and financial center. Commodities were transacted, money was deposited and exchanged. Evidence shows that some of the central banking activities were practiced, particularly the minting of coins and the issue of currency. Since then, the area has come under the influence of various civilizations. Roman coins were a common medium of exchange until the beginning of the 7th century AD. After that, Arabic and Islamic coins came into wider and continuous use. In recent history, the Ottoman and then the Egyptian pounds were in circulation until they were replaced by the Palestinian pound. In 1950, the Jordan Dinar was introduced for the first time. Simultaneously, the Jordan Currency Board was formed. Since His Majesty King Hussein's accession to the throne, Jordan's development achievements have surpassed all expectations. The momentum of development is typified by the establishment of numerous economic institutions which aim at the utilization of the available resources within the context of the development process. One of the most important steps in this direction came into being in 1964, when the central bank commenced its activities. In addition to the issue of Jordan currency, the responsibilities of the central bank include holding and managing the country's gold and foreign exchange reserves. And in order to assume a vital role in the development process, the central bank was assigned the task of monitoring and directing credit to stimulate economic growth while preserving monetary stability. As such, the Central Bank of Jordan is the central monetary authority as well as a development institution. Within this framework, the Central Bank of Jordan conducts its operations and activities through its 8 departments. The banking department is responsible for minting coins and the issue of banknotes, the safekeeping of the currency and government accounts, as well as those of public corporations, commercial banks, and specialized credit institutions. Another major responsibility of this department is the management of advances and credit facilities to commercial banks and specialized credit institutions. In order to keep banknotes in circulation in a presentable form, old banknotes are periodically destroyed. The clearinghouse is held daily, whereby commercial bank balances are updated under the supervision and guidance of this department. On behalf of the government, the central bank issues and manages government bonds and treasury notes, as well as bonds issued by public corporations. All activities pertaining to subscription, marketing and amortization of such instruments are carried out at the central bank. The bank also administers the internal public debt, including the preparation of a prospectus for each bond issue and the submission of recommendations to the government. The Foreign Relations Department manages the government reserves of foreign exchange. This entails receiving government revenues of foreign exchange, disbursement of various expenditures, the issue of travelers' checks, and monitoring the central bank accounts at the various central banks. The Foreign Relations Department manages all aspects of documentary credit, whether issued or received, and follows up on all matters that may arise from this. It also manages documentary and regular cash collections and disbursements on behalf of correspondent banks abroad and local clients. The central bank plays a pivotal role in the development of the capital market through the encouragement of syndicated loans and bond issues in conformity with overall development policies and needs. The Foreign Exchange Control Department supervises the country's receipts and payments, makes sure that such transactions comply with the standing regulations, and watches over the activities of the numerous money changers. This department also oversees the operations of commercial bank guarantees, including making sure that receipts from re-exports actually flow in. The staff of the Banking Control Department undertake periodic visits to the various commercial banks to ascertain the legality of the latter operation and their compliance with the established rules and regulations. The purpose of all of this is to protect small savers and channel their deposits towards development projects. On the other hand, this department renders a valuable service through its Central Credit Risk Exposure System, under which the commercial bank can obtain information of the credit position of their clients. The Research Department keeps a watchful eye on the banking and monetary developments and reports on the activities of saving and credit institutions. This department undertakes studies of the country's development plans and the government's revenues and expenditures. Various other studies are undertaken in this department, such as those assessing pan-Arab economic cooperation, as well as those aimed at augmenting exports. The department prepares the country's balance of payments and contains a specialized library. The central bank conducts seminars and symposia, during which numerous reports and studies are discussed, and relevant recommendations and resolutions are made. The Internal Audit and Organization Department inspects the financial and banking documents and makes sure that the bank's accounts and books are correctly kept. It submits its reports to the governor. The department continuously re-examines the established procedures, job specifications, in-plant training programs, and channels of communications and coordination between the bank departments. The Administrative Department undertakes all bank procurements and all matters pertaining to employees' recruitment and development. The department is also responsible for the bookkeeping of the bank accounts and the preparation of the accounting reports. All incoming mail is sorted out and routinely dispatched. Outgoing mail is duly registered. Further, the administrative department is responsible for the supervision of the housing schemes, making sure that they are executed and delivered to the beneficiaries as planned. Copies of all bank correspondence are centrally filed in this department and microfilmed. The administrative department also houses the bank's printing shop and supervises its operations. To facilitate commercial bank operations and to expand its services to the public institutions throughout the kingdom, the central bank opened a branch in Irbid in June 1978. Prior to that, another branch of the central bank was opened in Aqaba in September 1974. At the apex of the bank's organizational hierarchy is the Board of Directors, which is chaired by the Governor of the Central Bank. The Board of Directors sets the bank's policies and the bylaws of the bank. It also sets the rules and regulations which aim at organizing the bank's internal administrative and financial operations.
That, ladies and gentlemen, in brief, is the Central Bank of Jordan, an institution which has, over a period of almost 17 years since its inception, has applied itself in relentless devotion and dedication to the sole task of fulfilling the objectives that were laid down for it by the legislature. The fact that the central bank is occupying a leading position among Jordanian institutions, however, is due to and a consequence of the efforts and perseverance of its body staff, a selected group of highly qualified Jordanians. We are indebted to this group who have never failed to realize the importance of their mission. To those persons, whether they still are in work positions or retired, I would like to address myself to express deep appreciation for their fine work. It is my great pleasure, on behalf of myself and my colleagues, to assure them that their accomplishments in the bank shall remain a strong impetus for those who succeeded or shall succeed them. We are determined to maintain the pioneering standards and values that the bank has started with, and shall, in that respect, be always prompted by the royal guidance and patronage which His Majesty King Hussein has graciously extended to the central bank on various occasions.